Is it possible to lose a large amount of weight and avoid being left with loose skin? The short answer, no. If someone is significantly overweight and they lose that weight, they will be left with some degree of excess skin. And I'm going to talk about why that happens, why all those myths about it being related to whether or not you lose the weight fast or slow are not true, but also why it is so important to never allow the fear of excess skin to keep you from losing weight for the sake of your health. That's all coming up right now on The Cog is Shred. Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is John, and I've lost over 130 pounds, and for those of you who watch this channel, yes, I had to shave my beard off recently. Temporarily, it is starting to grow back, but here's the reason why. Several years ago, I played William Shatner in a parody video.
I've got a feeling. Oh, yes. I can get you a discount with Priceline.
So after making that video, I swore if I ever had a chance to take a photo with Shatner, I would do it dressed as him from the Priceline commercials. And 4 years ago, I got that chance. I dressed up as the Priceline negotiator, went to a local comic convention, and we took our photo together. And my costume actually got a pretty big laugh out of him. Well, since now I've lost weight and I bear a slight resemblance to William Shatner, I've been playing around with doing a Captain Kirk cosplay, such as in this slightly unsettling deepfake video I did.
Mario, Luigi, and Donkey Kong too. 1,000 troops of Koopas could not keep me from you.
Well, this year I heard that he was returning, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity to take another photo with him, but this time dressed as his younger self, Captain James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. So anyway, the entire point of this long rambling story is I had to take one more photo with William Shatner. And of course, that meant I had to shave off my beard to do that cosplay for the photo. But shaving off my beard made me realize that this is the perfect opportunity to discuss the topic of today's video, loose skin after weight loss. In fact, loose skin is one of the main reasons why I decided to grow a beard in the first place. I know I've gotten several comments from people saying like they're really surprised that I don't have any loose skin, which is nice of you all to say, but the truth is, I do have loose skin.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I don't have an extreme amount of loose skin, so it's not super noticeable, but it is there. A lot of it's kind of hiding in plain sight. I mean, look at how stretchy my neck is. But in general, it's barely even noticeable, and if I am having a day where I feel a little self-conscious about my neck looking a little saggy, the beard covers it up. I think Jim Gaffigan put it very well.
Because the beard is really the poor man's facelift.
I'll talk more specifically about my loose skin in a moment, but first, let's just discuss why anyone who loses a significant amount of weight, let's say at least 50 pounds or more, will likely have a degree of loose skin after weight loss. Skin is different from fat. Our bodies are designed to store excess fat for times when food is scarce, and then shed that fat as it uses it for fuel during those lean times. Skin is actually an organ. That's a fact I actually learned as a kid from an episode of Beakman's World.
Dear Beakman, what is the largest organ in the human body?
The largest organ in the human body is the skin.
Yes, I loved watching educational TV as a kid. I'm a nerd. Maybe the next time I shave for a Comic-Con, I'll go as Rick Moranis. Actually, with Spaceballs 2 coming out, I should consider going as Dark Helmet. Anyway, sorry, ADHD. A lot of people say that the reason for loose skin after weight loss is because our skin has lost its elasticity after being stretched out. And while it's true that skin does have elasticity and it does stretch, it's not just like a balloon, because think about it. If our skin acted the same way a balloon does, then what would happen to it as we gain weight? The more weight we gain, the more it would expand and stretch and get thinner and weaker until eventually it would just burst like a balloon.
Whoa, that just whipped me in the forehead.
I don't know about you, but I've never heard of anyone gaining so much weight that they popped like a balloon. Except, of course, that one guy in Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. So how does our skin work? Well, what happens when we get a cut or we skin our knee? As the wound heals, our bodies grow new skin over that wound. Well, what happens when we gain weight? As we gain weight and our bodies expand, our skin stretches and our bodies produce new skin to accommodate our new expanded size. Once our bodies have made more skin, that skin is there to stay. So even after we lose weight, our skin will shrink to quite a good degree, but we are still left with more skin than we had before we gained weight. So don't listen to that myth that people have been saying for years that loose skin is only caused by losing weight too quickly, and that if you lose it slowly, it'll have time to shrink back.
That's not how the Force works.
It's not true. It's just not how our skin works. So what can we do about loose skin? There are a lot of products out there that claim to eliminate loose skin.
But you're in luck, because I've got the cure. I have in my possession serums and potions.
Dietary supplements, oils, lotions, special lights, body wraps. It's all snake oil. I mean, they'll take your money away, but not your loose skin. Now, depending on your body, your amount of loose skin, and which areas you want to focus on, gaining muscle in certain areas can help to a degree. It's one of the reasons why I started lifting weights and focusing on my arms, because I wanted to try to fill in a bit of the loose skin that I have around my arms. And it's helped some, but the skin around here is still kind of loose, and I haven't gained a ton of muscle. But even if I were to gain a lot, I carried most of my weight around my midsection and around my neck. And I don't want a huge waist or a thick neck. And plus, no matter how much muscle I could possibly build in my abs, there is no way it would ever fill out as big as the fat that I had stored around my gut. It's just not possible. In all honesty, the only way to truly get rid of excess skin is to have it surgically removed. And that is a personal decision, and one that I will not advise anyone on, because each person's body and reasons for wanting or not wanting surgery is different. I can, however, speak on my own experiences and my own choices, though. For me personally, my loose skin is very minor. It doesn't cause me any issues at all. It's not in the way. I don't get any rashes or have any pain from it. It's really not a problem in my life whatsoever. And so for me, I see no reason to get surgery. I think if I ever were to get surgery for it, for me, it would be solely cosmetic. And I personally just don't see a need to do that for myself. Plus, it's a fairly major surgery. There's a lot involved in a surgery like that, and there can be complications. There's pain. There's recovery time, having to be immobile for a long period of time. There's the issue of cost. It can be very expensive. It's just not something that personally is that important to me. And honestly, in my case, the two areas that I'm the most insecure about are generally hidden under my shirt and under my beard. Well, when it's there. You might know actor Ethan Suplee from things like Boy Meets World, Remember the Titans, or My Name is Earl. At his heaviest, he weighed 550 pounds. He has had an insane transformation and is just absolutely jacked now. But he has talked extensively about the horrors he experienced with his skin removal surgery.
With skin removal surgery, it is a dark, horrible time in my life. Like, I don't want to dissuade people from doing it, but 6 months after my operation, I had a wound vac and I was on, a 6-month course of Levaquin.
But he just went through a horrible experience. At one point, he fell and split his incision open and was back in the hospital, and just sounds like a nightmare. I'm not trying to discourage people from getting the surgery. In fact, I think there are plenty of people out there who genuinely need the surgery. There are those who have lost so much weight that their skin is causing problems in their life. It's painful. Their lives are actually better getting the surgery. All I'm saying is consider all of the complications that could come along with it. It's a very big decision to make. Now, I'm sure for some of you watching, this may all be totally new information and maybe kind of a shock, and that's partly why I wanted to make this video and why I think it's so important to talk about, because I don't think it's talked about enough. We see all of these weight loss success stories. We see the before and the after. They were very heavy. Now they're in great shape. And we rarely hear people talk about the fact that when they lose weight, these people have loose skin. It's almost hidden, or people just don't want to talk about it because it's either uncomfortable or some doctors just don't want people to be afraid to lose weight. And I know there are lots of people out there who are afraid to lose weight because they are afraid of having loose skin. Now, I went into my weight loss journey already knowing that this was an inevitability. I am grateful that in my case, it's not severe, but I knew, because I had done so much research on weight loss for so many years, that this is just something that comes along with it. But for a lot of people, they're terrified because they don't like the way they look when they're overweight, but they're also afraid they're not going to like the way they look when they have some loose skin, or possibly a lot of loose skin. Well, I just want to say, if you are afraid to make a change and lose weight just because you're afraid of loose skin, I want to say this to you. Adopting healthy habits, losing the weight, and turning your health around is worth every bit of the effort it takes. And it is so much better to be alive and healthy and feel good and be able to do the things that you couldn't, and to be there for those who love you, and to have less pain, and to be able to live a full life, versus avoiding the weight loss out of fear of the unknown and dealing with the chronic pain and the health conditions and all of the issues that come along with it, and have a decreased quality of life, especially as you age. It is so worth turning your life around and taking care of yourself. I would gladly deal with way more excess skin than I have versus going back to being over 300 pounds and being constantly out of breath and dealing with a lower back pain and my feet being in pain and being unable to do so much and having the fatigue and no energy and the high blood pressure and struggling just to roll out of bed every day. I never want to go back to that. And so I promise you, please don't let the fear of having loose skin keep you from improving the quality of your life. One other thing I want to mention that I have been so happy to see lately is that more and more weight loss and fitness influencers, or just people who are sharing their stories, are helping to make people aware of this, but also helping to normalize and destigmatize loose skin from weight loss.
Before I lost a single pound, I was already stressing about how much loose skin I'd have. But trust me when I say, I would take that any day over the hell that I was living in.
Confidence doesn't come from the perfect body. It doesn't come from looking a certain way or fitting a certain image. Confidence comes from choosing to live freely despite the imperfection. At what point in my life am I just going to say screw it? Screw the fear, screw the judgment, screw the idea that I have to hide this body that has carried me through everything.
If you are scared of loose skin before you even start losing weight, that means you're scared of being successful. Let that sink in for a second.
There's gonna be times where you look like this. Loose skin is normal. Doesn't make you less of a person. It's because guess what? You're a human with a human body.
It's normal. It's just part of the process. And not enough people know that. And not enough people are comfortable or secure enough to have a body with loose skin. And there are people out there like John Glaude, who goes by Obese to Beast. He's someone that I watched a lot when I was starting out my weight loss journey. He's been a big influence on me. He has talked quite a bit about his loose skin and how he has no plans for surgery. Or Kat Schrank on Instagram, who has lost over 300 pounds. She has lots of loose skin, and she shows all of these body suits and body shapers that you can wear to help smooth things out and make you feel more confident in your clothing. In fact, even though generally I don't wear shapewear from day to day, I do wear a compression tank under my shirt when I do my cooking videos, and I wear this for two reasons. Mainly it helps to just smooth out my belly, because there are those watching that might actually think this is fat. I mean, trust me, I thought it was fat for quite a while. And then the other thing is, these two, for whatever reason, have a tendency to want to poke through my shirt at the most inconvenient times, so it just helps to minimize that. So I guess, technically, there are actually 1, 2, 3 reasons. Anyway, if you have loose skin and you don't want surgery, then don't. And don't let anyone try to convince you that you need to get surgery just because they don't like the way your body looks to them. Their opinion means nothing. Your loose skin is proof of all the incredible hard work you've put in to transform your body. It shows that you fought an unbelievable fight for your life and were victorious. Your stretch marks are your tiger stripes, and your loose skin is a badge of honor. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Personally, I will say that it's almost like a badge of honor to see how far I've come.
I'm proud because it tells a story. I have decided to embrace my loose skin so I can send a message to other girls that it's okay.
I view it as a badge of honor of the damage I did to my body and the way I've worked really hard to repair it.
Okay, well, I have talked about this topic quite a bit and about being confident in your skin, so I guess I'll try and be confident as well. So let me show you what I've been left with after losing 130 pounds. Okay, well, I guess it's time to go ahead and do this. I don't know why this feels so weird to me. I've never taken my shirt off on camera before, so I guess there's that. I mean, I was always the overweight guy who would leave my shirt on at the pool or at the beach. I wouldn't even change my shirt in front of my friends. I never wanted anyone to see the way I looked. I was always embarrassed about my weight, and so even though, yeah, I am way more confident now, truthfully, I feel very good about where I'm at. I'm happy with my body, but I've never done this before. So, and I know also you put yourself online, you open yourself up to criticism, and if there are people out there that think I look terrible, whatever, I'm sure there will be.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
All right, I'm gonna shut up. Let's just do it. Here we go. Okay, I guess to quote the final moment of Firefly.
Well, here I am.
Here I am. And yes, I know I am extremely pale. Good Lord, I know I need more sun. Just get that out of the way. So, yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm so worried about this. Like I said, I know I look all right, but I'm also aware of every little perceived flaw. I spent the majority of my life obese. I've done things to my body that are irreversible, but the majority of everything obviously has been reversible because that weight that I put on, I was able to take off. But I am left with some loose skin. I am shocked that I don't have more loose skin. I honestly went in knowing that when you lose a tremendous amount of weight, you will be left with loose skin. It is inevitable. But I was prepared for much more than I have. But it's obvious, I think, even looking at me now. First thing I want to address, this is, if you notice over here, it's a little uneven on this side. This is because I have a scar from a heart surgery I had as an infant. I don't even remember it, but they made an incision here, and then there's a scar that goes all the way up and around toward my shoulder blade. But that's what that is, which is why this side is smooth and this side has this little bit of a crease. That's always been there. In fact, when I was at my heaviest, it was way more apparent. It just because there was that bulge there. Aside from that, yeah, you can kind of see, I think if you look at me, I mean, I've got around my arms here, under my arm. Certain areas when I move will fold, but nothing that's usually super noticeable. Still a little jiggly here and there. I've got stretch marks, obviously. I had stretch marks even at my heaviest. Stretch marks on my shoulder. That's just part of it. But yeah, overall,
Not bad, not bad.
I haven't had the opportunity to go to a pool or to the beach since losing weight, oddly enough, but I would be perfectly comfortable taking my shirt off like this at a public beach or a pool. Here's the biggest insecurity that I have, and it's just where I have the most loose skin. The most noticeable is the area where I carried the most of my weight, my gut. And most of the time it's tucked into my waistband anyway, so nobody even notices, but I'm gonna show you, I don't even think it looks that bad. But I know there are people out there that are super critical and will say some harsh things, and if that's how they feel,
I don't care.
This is how I look. I'm fine with that. Okay, well, let's do this.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
I know some of you may have been preparing for worse. I honestly feel like for the most part, it looks like I just have a little bit of belly fat. And for a while, I thought that's all this was. I thought it was just fat. And I was like, oh, I just need to keep losing weight and keep losing weight. But as you can see, I've got a little bit of ab definition, and yet I still have this. Finally, after watching other YouTubers talking about loose skin, I realized, oh, okay, this is loose skin down here. And yeah, you can see as I move it, that's exactly what this is. But, it doesn't really look super saggy for the most part. It's just not taut. But that's all. That's all I got. And the reason I'm insecure, I think, is mostly because I'm putting myself out there as someone who talks about health and fitness and weight loss. And, you know, with the channel name, The Cog is Shred, which is just a pun because I have a band named The Cog is Dead. That's where the name came from. And it's like, I know I'm not shredded. I have no plans to get shredded, like super insanely lean or insanely muscular. I'm never going to be, I don't plan to be. I want to just enjoy my life. I want to be able to do something that I can reasonably maintain on a daily basis, but I still have so much to do. I've got so much work to do. I'm a musician. I'm a voice actor. I'm a very busy person. So my life does not revolve around fitness. And I want to encourage other people out there, because unless you are literally trying to be a fitness influencer or make that your entire persona, I think health and fitness should just be a part of your routine. It should be a priority, just like getting good sleep should be a priority. Just like any other thing that's just beneficial for your health should be a priority and should be something that everyone can maintain and keep up with. Realistically, if someone is going to lose weight and keep it off, they need to be able to do something that they can keep up with as a regular part of their lifestyle. The things that I have done have been changes to habits and just little things. I exercise 30 minutes to an hour a day, depending on what I'm doing. First thing in the morning, I get up, I'll walk for an hour, and on the days that I lift weights, I will lift for about 25 minutes, and that's it. And then I go about my day. And I just have changed my eating habits. But I've got stuff to do. I've got a life to live. My life doesn't revolve around fitness. That's partly why I started this channel, because I'm like, I consider myself an average guy. I mean, I don't necessarily have the most typical line of work, but still, I'm someone who was never into fitness before, never was able to stick to a diet. Every diet I had tried in the past, I tried and failed. I would go back to binging. I would go back to my old habits every single time. And I had to make a mental shift. I had to change my relationship with food. I had to finally figure out what I needed to motivate me to change. And considering that I've lost over 130 pounds and this is what I'm left with, I am so happy with that. This is what I look like now, but this is what I used to look like when I was at my heaviest. And this body and that body are the exact same body. And when I look back at where I was and where I'm at now and realize, you know, it's the same body, and I've been able to transform that body into something that I never imagined. All of my life, I had dreamed of eventually losing the weight. I wanted to lose the weight so badly, but realistically, I didn't think it would ever be possible. I honestly never, ever imagined in my life I would ever be able to get in this kind of shape. So the fact that I've got a little bit of wrinkly excess skin down there, big deal. I can live with this. Honestly, the biggest reason I'm insecure about this stomach skin is that I feel like people are gonna look at me and still think that I look fat. Even though it's skin, it does look a little bit like fat. You know, I've looked at myself plenty of times and I've been like, oh, I look like a less muscular version of Fat Thor. You know what I mean? Like, it really doesn't bother me that much. I don't think it's a big deal. But I do think it's important to talk about loose skin because it absolutely is a reality for anyone that loses a lot of weight. Okay, that's enough. I'm gonna put this away so you guys will stop ogling me. All right, well, I sincerely hope that you found this video to be informative and encouraging, and hopefully it answered a lot of questions. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will try to answer any that I can. And if you'd like to see other videos related to my weight loss and fitness journey, as well as delicious low-calorie, high-protein recipes that I share all the time, then please subscribe to this channel. The Cog is Shred. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Not bad, not bad.